Sanhedrin Daf Sadi Aleph Amud Aleph, 4 lines from the bottom. Amar le Antinonis le Rabbi. Antinonis, the Roman emperor, spoke to Rabbi. They became very close friends. They learned a lot together. He asked him a question. Guf un shema yechulim iftor asman min adin. Technically, by the time of judgment, the soul and the body can each excuse themselves from being punished after death. Why? Ketzad. Guf omer nishma hatat. The body says, the soul helped made me sin. Shemiyam shepershem min neherin mutal ke'evin demam bakever. Because now that the soul left, he's been in the grave, unable to move. Unishma omer, and the soul says, Guf chatat. The body's one that sinned. Shemiyam Because in the day that he left, I've been flying around unable to sin. The both should be batur. Where it says, I'll give you a mashal to explain it. The Mardem, what's comparable to mashal, the Melech Basar Adam Chayad Lo Pardes Na'ed of a king who had a nice, beautiful orchard. V'hayav bo bakrot na'ot, beautiful figs. V'ashiv bo shnei shemarim, he put 2 guards to guard it. Echad Higer, Echad Suma. One guy couldn't walk, one guy couldn't see. Amar le Higer Suma, the one who couldn't walk said to the blind one, Bakrut na'ot ani ru'el b'chadis, I see the beautiful figs in the orchard. Bo b'harkiveni, let me put me on your shoulders, and v'yem la'achlam, and we'll eat it together. Rachav Higer agabe Suma, the guy, one of the blind guys, back. V'yum v'achlum, he guided them to the figs and they ate it. The main Baal Paras, the king came back. Amar Lehem, he said, Bakrut na'ot hechanan, where are they? Amar lo Higer klum yesh li raglan lalech behem. The guy who couldn't walk said, listen, I can't walk there. Amar lo Suma klum yesh li nan l'rot. The blind one said, I couldn't have seen it. Where it says, Ma'asa, what did he do? How to keep Higer agabe Suma? He put the one who couldn't walk in the back of the blind one. V'danatam ke'achan yajam together. Akadosh Baruch Hu mevnei shema v'zaka baguf. V'danatam be'achatzotu, the day of judgment. Hashem puts the body with the soul to judge them together. Shenamar yikra ela shemayim me'al ve'ela aretz yadin ladin amo. Yikra shemayim zunishma ve'ela aretz ladin amo zeh haguf. Okay, Amar Le'en Antonis, there'll be another question from Antonis to the B. B'pnei ma hama yitzab b'mizrach v'shkad b'marav. How come the sun rises in the east and sets in the west? Marley said, "You have a ibcha, nami have a minutely." He said, "What's the difference? If it was west to east, east to west, you'd still ask the same question." Marley says, "No. Hacha came into my question as follows: Why does it set in the west, whether versus going back to the east?" Marley said, because it offers greetings to Hashem. Marley said, "Let it go to the middle of the sky, and then offer God greeting there, and then go back." Mishum Mishum answered no, because of the workers and because of people traveling, they need to know that there's a gradual setting of the sun, so it doesn't turn automatically, like lights off and they're stuck. Amar Rabbi asked another question. When is a soul placed into a person? Mishat Pikida, is it the initial procreation part, is when it's first inception? Or Mishat Yitzira, when the embryo starts to form? Marley said Mishat Yitzira, from the formation of the embryo. Marley said, 1 second, how can a piece of meat remain without salt for 3 days? Without spoiling, meaning how can there be a body or a child forming without a soul yet? And let me show you that it must be from the time of initial conception. Marnabi said, the Barzal Antinonis did teach me this. Then I found a pasuk to learn like him. Okay, I'm not going to be another question. When does the Yitzhara start ruling over a person? Is it from the initial formation? It's when the baby gets expelled from the womb. Amarlo, he said to him, from the leaving of the womb. Sorry, he said from the formation of the baby. He said if that's the case, then the baby would start kicking its mother womb to leave early, which cause problems if he had the Yitzhara. It must be where the baby gets the Yitzhara when he leaves the womb. He said, Antinonis did teach me this, that the baby only has an influence until birth. Does not have an influence before birth. Pasuk says, sin is waiting by the door, referring to the womb. All right, if you have a question on this based off a famous story, text me. One pasuk says, וכתיב אז ידלג היה פסח בזרון נשון אילם כי נתקעו במדבר מים ומחלים בערבה. הקצה. What is the problem? The Pesukim seemingly say that one pasuk sounds like a person after resurrection will still have the crippling that he had before, and one person still be healed. Where it says, they'll resurrect with their cripples and defects, but then they'll get healed afterward. كتيب بلع الموت لنسخ وما هاشم الكيم دمقامة أقناع أقفانين وكتيب كي نعرف بين عشان يموت ضيع من الشام عود قول يمين. Right? People, it sounds like one person sounds like there's be no death in the next world. One people say there will be death. What's the right answer? لا كشر ناس can be still Jews won't die. Can بعض الحين Goyim will die. What are they doing in there? Goyim doing in there in the first place? None about. أنا أختي هو بس وسيس بعمدو زارين جعبون تفهم بدين خاري كخم لكم الخم to take care of your stuff. رفخي استعمل از this دراع كتيبة حفرة اللي بنا بوشابه ما بكي ما خشم تبعوت وكتيبة هي أورها اللي بناك أورها ما بأورها حما يهش بعتام كي أور شبع تميم. Now, seemingly, one pasuk is saying that the moon will be small and practically gone. Other pasuk says the moon will be huge. Lakashas narastira. Kan Mashiach. When will the moon and everything become more shiny? It's Mashiach time. Kan Laba in the first pasuk where it says that we know real light is in Lamaba. Ushmul Damar in Ban Lamaba the Mashiach Elishibud Bilid Bavara. Shmuel, there's no difference between Lamazeh and Mashiach except for the fact that the Jews will be able to be returned. So how do you explain that if it's technically the same world? There's no lakashya. Come to Mahana to the Kim, into the Kim, there'll be beautiful lights. But Mahana Shekhinah, and in the Shekhinah, there will be barely any light because the Shekhinah itself will be the light. Pasuk says, one pasuk says God will put death and resurrect. Other pasuk says He will wound and heal. So how do you explain how does it going to work in the next world? Just like whatever I put to the plate on the left, then I'll heal what I wounded, like we said earlier with Rosh Hashanah. Number nine, it sounds like maybe death is on one person and life is given to someone else. The way things are now. تنوبار ده في بس محت بنير با ماما خيتsa urfua بأخر أف ميتا بخيم بأخر just like wounding and healing is referring to the same person. Only someone who got hurt can be healed. So too, person who died will come back to life. This is a proof that there is written in the Torah. Tanya Brother says, "Amar b'meir minayt sebitim mitrayim not yachmitim mitzvah shnemar az yashir Moshe uvnei Yisrael et hashira hazot le'Hashem shad lo namar ela yashir." Doesn't say that he's saying; it says he will sing. It sounds like that they will come back to life and sing then as well. As Yevne, the Rashi says, similarly, the American says, As Yevne Yoshua Mizbeach Hashem. Yoshua will build a Mizbeach for Hashem, but not Lo Namar Yevne. It sounds like he didn't build it already, he will build. Mikam Temitim Torah also proof. Martin Eliyahu that's the case. As Yevne Shlomo Bama Lechmosh Yishuka Shikut Moav. Pasuk mentions that when Shlomo Melech was ending his life, he started getting influenced by his bad wives. It sounded like if he was going to build a Avodah Zarah Mizbeach, does that mean he also will build it in the future? No, obviously meant in the past tense. The Torah made it as if he already built it, even though he didn't, because of the influence he's receiving. عودي هللوها سرعة هللوها خلونا معنا هللوها بس يقول إذا they praise they will praise me كان زي ما this is proof that they will be سيادتين أما شو بنلاقي بيكون مرة شجاع ولا زي whoever sings to Hashem in this world زخاف ومراد اسمه بعض will sing to Hashem in the next world عشان ما شيء شو بتاعها أو لا خسر مرة بيحيى بعد ما يخلنا من ناين تسميت برهان تسميت متراش مرة كل صفايش مسؤول كل يحتاج يرننه since they will sing بكان يحتمل ترى as proof for التحتمتين ومر يحيى برا بمر يحنان أحدين كون دين كلنا من شباب كل خار all the prophets will sing together شنيمار كل صفايش ناسو كل يحتاج رننه أمر في دمرة كل هموني على خمسة تميل whoever stops teaching a student a certain halakha يعني you neglecting to teach him he goes من أحلى as if he stole his inheritance from his ancestors شنيمار تجرات سيفلا مشى مورا شاكت يعقوب it's like an inheritance from Bnei Israel from the 6 days of creation. Hold back halakha from his students. Even fetuses in mother's wombs curse that teacher. ואין לאום אלא לעוברין. לאום means fetuses. שנאמר, ולאום לאום יאמץ. ואין כבו אלא כלן. The word כבו refers to curse. שנאמר, מה אקוב לא כבו אל. ואין בר אלא תורה. The word בר means תורה. שנאמר, נשקו בר פן יענף. ולבר ישמעאל אומר, מנקבים אותו כקברה. When a person holds back teaching the student Torah, He's made full of holes like a filter that allows he starts to forget his Torah. It leaks out of him. Rabbi says he becomes like the sprinkler of a launderer type of guy that and the reason why he's also like he's gonna leak out like a sprinkler. We use water because water is more considered like Torah. But even the Madam Master will teach the student Torah what's the reward. And get brachot like Yosef Shnemar. Uvrachal Rosh Mashbir. Ben Mashbir El Yosef. The provider is referring to Yosef. Shnemar Yosef who Hashid al Arz who Mashbir la Hola Ma'ares. Marav Shishat. Come in the Torah. Whoever teaches the Torah in this world. זוכה למדור למה בבא, will also teach the next one, שנאמר, ומרווה גם הוא יורה. אמר רבא, מנין נתונים תדבר על הזרמים בתורה, שנאמר, יחי ראובן ואל ימות. Reuven will live and not die. יחי ראובן ואל זה, אל ימות לנבא, the extra word of will not die is referring to לנבא. רבי נבא ריחך, ורבים מהשני אדמות עפר יקיצו, אלא יחי לנבא, ואלא יחרבת לדרון לעולם. His pasuk is straight up that refers to people sleeping in the earth will awaken and live forever. That's the most, Rambam says this is the most clearest source in the Torah את הסתכלת אמיתים. רבי שמר יחד דם פסוק ואתר לך לקץ בתנוח ותעמוד ולך לקץ ימין. Daniel, you will lie down and pass away, and then you'll end up rising up at the end of the days. Mar Belazar, whoever community leader leads the community by being gentle and patient. He will become a leader in Lomabash. The word de'ad, understanding, it must be understanding is so powerful because it's given between two names of Hashem. Shnemar, Kikel De'ot Hashem. Also, the word Mikdash, Bet Mikdash, also plays between the two names. Shnemar, Pa'ata Hashem Mikedash Amunai Kunanu Yedecha. 1 second, the word Nekama also comes between two Hashem's names. That means it's great? No, the teeth. El Nekamot Hashem, El Nekamot Aviyah. So is Nekama good also? The word says, technically, if you use it correctly, it is. Ula says, why do we have two words of appearance in this pasuk? One is vengeance, chasing after someone to reward them, and one's after successfully and purposely and correctly punishing someone who needs to be punished. So you can use vengeance for a positive light in a positive way. And that's the truth of all midot and traits and attributes. Everybody has it. Well, a person's angry, he could fire himself up to do good. A person is he can't focus, he can use that to continuously help other people. A person is too focused, he can use it to help people organize their lives. You can always use your traits to help someone else for the positive. Whoever person has understanding during his days. Because both the word understanding and Mikdash were both placed between two names of Hashem, like we said earlier. Whoever understanding will become wealthy. Another thing. That person is not understanding. You can't have mercy on him. Person doesn't want to try to understand. He's shooting himself in the foot. Don't try to help him. Whoever gives bread to someone who doesn't understand, which is self-inflicted no understanding, that person who gave it to him will become also suffering. The word mazor refers to suffering. Okay, number Zar. Understanding become exiled. Does not have Torah at nighttime. Fire will consume it. The word remaining means whoever does not help with his properties, will never see blessing on his and success with his parnasa. Shnemar in sarid nochol al ken lo yahil tuvo. In sarid elat yachin in sarid referring to the Cham. Shnemar as earlier musadim Hashem Hashem kore. Lama bezar. Kol sheinu mashiach tak b'shazna. Whoever does not leave over some bread on his table. In ro'es imam brachalam will never see a blessing. Shnemar in sarid nochol al ken lo yahil tuvo. It's always good to leave a little bit of food left. Just a little bit. 1 second. Pasuk says another thing says Rabbi also says that if you leave bread on your table, it's as if you're serving with azra. How does that make sense? The Gemara says no, not kasha, not stra. Kan if you leave a full piece of bread, yes, that is amdazra. If you leave a small piece of bread that's a morsel, that's okay. Whoever disguises his speech, that he shouldn't, people should not recognize him, which is another way of saying that he's not honest, doesn't keep his word. Woman gazes at a woman not dressed, he will become impotent. The person should always be humble and therefore where he live. Also says, beautiful, beautiful proof. In Sarat, we don't, if the house is dark and we're not sure if it's Sarat in the house, you don't light it to see the Sarat, which is, and we're alluding to that now, basically saying, if a person who is humble and doesn't flaunt and doesn't show what he has, then the ayin hara won't come to him because people are not going to look at him. The person does everything for the good. A person channels everything for good, and people won't look at what he has negatively because of that. Whether he doesn't flaunt it or he channels it for the good, he won't have etzera. Say he won't have ayin hara. That's why it says and that the proof is the same way you don't light the house to see if there's tzerat inside. Also, your house won't be scrutinized if you're doing the correct things and being humble. Beautiful. What does it mean that the grave, the womb, and the earth is never satiated with water? What's the connection between the grave and the womb? Which is like the womb takes in and sends forth, it receives the semen from men and sends the baby out. So too, with the grave will take in the corpse and send out the person. Just like a womb, when it receives, it's quiet, nothing screaming, and then a baby comes out with great noise. A grave which takes in the corpse while everybody's screaming and making a lot of noise, for sure will come out with a lot of noise of the guy waking up. Is also a proof that there's a concept of Tiamatim from the Torah.